Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and we're going to start with a PSA today. I love and hate all of you who are sending me copious amounts of cheese popcorn. If you've not listened to the episode before this one, I think it's before this one, or it's two before. I think it's episode 368. I was basically a hot mess, which is fine. And there were tears, there were laughter. It's pretty much as raw and real as it gets. You need to listen to it. I almost deleted it because I felt like I was being a downer, that it wasn't very uplifting. And thankfully, I listened to God because I had my finger hovering over the delete button. And I was like, God, I didn't make any sense. Did I give them any freaking value or tangible, any tangible things to do? And thankfully, I've taught myself to pause, even just for 3 seconds before I do something. And that's the first thing I want to say to you guys today is even pausing. That doesn't mean you have to pause for 24 hours. That can be dangerous too. People will tell you like, don't make a decision on a big purchase or to buy something, like sleep on it. I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with it. I know some people are going to come to me for that, but that's not unusual. Come for me. I'm in rare form. So I dare you, come for me. No, I have to sip a coffee for those of you who have auditory issues with sipping. Sorry, not sorry. Oh my God. My coffee game is so on point lately. At least there's that going for me. Meanwhile, I'm recording this with my new sinus mask of one of my 2 a.m. Amazon purchases. I look fucking crazy, but it feels so good. You can put it in the microwave and have it like warmth on your sinuses, or you can have it in the fridge or the freezer and depuff. I need everything, quite frankly, all at once. So I'll ice roll my face first and then I'll use it. Basically, now my morning routine, it started with like a half an hour, then it went to an hour, 2 hours. Now my morning routine. Now I don't do anything until like noon every day. I'm not joking. My morning routine is now like 4.5, 5 hours long. Thankfully, I've created a lifestyle that supports this morning routine, but it is kind of comical. Like pretty soon my morning routine is going to be my entire day. Like the goal is basically for my morning routine to be my job. Just a full day of, self-care, luxuriating every day, all day. But back to the pausing thing. I've had to train myself to do it because a lot of us who came from abusive households or were in toxic relationships, whether it's in childhood or adult life, maybe it was, in a toxic work environment, or it could even happen at university with professors, friendships, whatever. Business partners, we can tend to be very reactionary because it's almost like an anxious response. Like, well, I need to do something. I need to do it now, right? I can't just sit with it because that's so uncomfortable. And that makes me even more pissed, more anxious, more uncomfortable. So I need to do something about it. That's when you like blast off the crazy text messages or you blast off the email and you're like, I wish I could have pedaled that back a little bit. Curious, are you the person where you do the long paragraph text messages when you're pissed off? So it's like the extra long 85 line text, or are you the person who sends like 17 texts where you write a sentence, send, write another sentence, send, maybe write 3 sentences, send? Which one are you? Because you're either one or the other. I'm the one who you'll get like 17 from me. And it doesn't necessarily mean I'm pissed at you. I could be upset about something, but if I'm pissed or I'm hurt, oh, you're getting like 25. It's on hard blast to where, and then I get irritated that the person's not responding or I'm not seeing the 3 dots. It's like, oh, so I'm writing all this and they're not even going to respond. Well, how could they respond? Because they don't know when the end is coming, because I keep going with it. But I've trained myself to pause, even if it's for 3 seconds. Big decisions, small decisions, whether you should post something or not, whether you should record the video, whether you should do that reel or TikTok, whether you should send that email, or big decisions, whether you should say yes to the date, start the business, get the breast implants removed, right? Get Botox, hire a coach, join a program, attend an event. You don't need to do it overnight, because what can happen is most all you who listen to me are overthinkers, overanalyzers, because as you hear me say all the time, like attracts like. And with people like us who do that, our egos usually will get in the way, and we'll overthink ourselves and overanalyze ourselves from doing scary things. So we'll talk ourselves out of it, especially when there's a significant amount of like risk or like money at stake or vulnerability or discomfort at stake. It's like our own perceived risk, right? Someone else might not find it that risky to post, do a face to camera video on Instagram, right? Like I might see it as, well, that's not that risky. What's the worst that can happen, right? If it's absolutely horrible, you could archive it. You could delete it. I mean, what's going to happen? I have a lot more empathy than that, because I know that is really, really challenging for a lot of people, because you're being seen. You're being seen by strangers. It's not in privacy. It's not behind closed doors. It's open to the world. I mean, I know how deep that can run. And for other people, it's no big deal to make a big investment or to even apply for my 2-month private business coaching program, which, by the way, I have opened my applications for 2022 early for my exclusive 2-month private business coaching program. I only take 6 people at a time, you guys. So I'm very decisive about who I accept. And it's not me deeming you as worthy. It's me deeming if I'm the right fit for you and you're going to get the return on investment. And if I don't feel that we're the best fit or you're at the right place for doing it at this time, I will still give you my best recommendations. But you've got to be ready. Like, don't apply just to kind of like have Tiffany tell you if you're ready. I will absolutely share with you if I feel you're at a spot where I can coach you and you're going to get that return on investment in working with me. You just have to be at the point where you're like, you know what, enough fucking around, enough toe dipping, enough trying, doing this course here and this program here. And I feel like I'm doing all the things and I'm making a little headway, but not enough to where like this can be my, where I'm making like legit cash, where I'm making game-changing, life-changing cash, and I know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm confident in how I'm going to be getting, ideal clients and converting them to cash on repeat consistently and without killing myself, where you have a nice mix of both, that, so to speak, one-to-many passive income and active income. And if you're at that point where you're like, you know what, I'm done messing around, I'm going to invest in myself. I get that a business requires putting real money on the line. You get what you pay for. That's why I've opened it up, because I know a lot of you are like, there is no freaking way I'm going to go another year and be at the same spot at the end of 2022, which you will be, by the way, if you keep toe dipping. Straight up. It took me 10 years to start ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. There was lots of toe dipping, lots of ruminating. I tricked myself into thinking that I was taking action, but all I was doing was like studying, taking courses, watching people's stuff. I wasn't really going all in and treating my business like a business. I wasn't doing it. That's why it took me so long. So if you're at that point, and you know, like, okay, enough's enough already, I know I can't get time back, this is where it's at. Because if you're listening to the show, you already resonate with me. You already like my vibe. You like my style. You resonate with how I teach, and you appreciate my direct approach. And I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear and make it very clear what you need to focus on and what you need to stop messing around with in order to get that fresh cash cranking. Without fresh cash, you ain't got a business. You got a jobby, a time-sucking and expensive hobby. And I don't think that's what you want. And if what you want it, if you want it to be just kind of a hobby and a passion project, no judgment here. But I don't think that's what you're really after. How to apply, the link is in my bio on my Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, or you can swipe up. I've put the link in the show notes, or go to my website, ProjectMeWithTiffany.com, under Work With Me. And again, it's by application only. Maximum amount of you crazy asses I can handle at a time is 6, and that's it. There's no exceptions. I've made exceptions in the past. Not a good plan. That's what I can take and give you the best of the best, which is what you deserve. So pausing. Let's use that as an example. Let's say you're like, no, I need to apply. Like, I need to do this. And then let's say you're like, okay, well, I'll think about it today, and if I still want to do it later, you will circle talk yourself into self-doubt land and get in your head, because there's a reason why you've not gone all in on the thing you're scared to go all in with. Maybe it's, finding that relationship. Maybe it's repairing a relationship. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your weight. Maybe it's something with your kids. Maybe it's getting your energy back. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's cash. Maybe it's your business. You will talk yourself out of it. And that's why I do how Mel Robbins, I think it's the 5-second rule, right? I do a 3-second rule. 3 seconds is actually a long time. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 3 seconds. And I turn it over. You're not into the God thing? That's fine. Turn it over to the universe, to angels, to spirit, whatever your higher power is, something greater than yourself. Give that 3 seconds, turn it over, and allow it to tell you what to do. Because I would have deleted that episode without a doubt. Even if I waited 4 seconds, I would have deleted it. I would have overridden what God had to say to me. And God's like, don't you do it. And I listened. I can't make you listen to that. There's been many times I heard the voice, I heard the calling, I heard the direction, I even got signs, but I second guessed them or didn't listen to them. You gotta work on that too, because I didn't want to trust them. I was like, was that really a sign? Can I get another sign? Was that really God telling me not to delete it? Or was that my brain telling me not to delete it? I would go with your first gut instinct. Usually when you look back and you're like, God, I can't believe I hired that coach, or I married that guy, or went out with that girl, or bought that thing, or, accepted that job, or took on that client. That they say like that hindsight's 20/20. It's like, if you look back, there were some signs, there was a feeling in your body and your gut that like was hesitating. And you're not always going to escape that, because we're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to trust people that aren't trustworthy. We're supposed to get screwed over. That's all part of it. It's going to happen. I've hired people who've stolen from me. I've hired coaches who were 180 degrees a different person than they portray themselves to be online. And these people are still out there. And I get a lot of you who have paid people a lot of money, whether it's a website designer, a coach, a business consultant, and you come to me and I hear, oh, I spent this amount of money and nothing moved in my business. And I was like, yeah, that's going to happen, right? I've hired, I've lost a lot of money on things like that. That's all part of it, right? That'd be like saying, oh, everyone you've dated is amazing. No, that doesn't work like that. It's like that expression, you've got to kiss a bunch of toads, is it? Frogs to get to the prince. I don't know. Some of these fairy tale things are so outdated and ridiculous. It's like, let me tell you something. My ass is made out with a lot of toads. Okay? And then there's still more toads. So I don't know what to tell you about that. I feel like we need to make a realistic fairy tale book, like take all those fairy tales and make them in modern fucking times and redo them for kids. Redo them. I'm not saying for it to be negative, but making them actually realistic. So when they go about their lives, it's not so shocking. It's not so shocking to them. I mean, you don't always get the prince. There isn't always a happy ending, certainly not on your time, right? It doesn't always look how we want it to look. It's not always packaged pretty with a nice bow. And sometimes it is, right? It's all over the place. But I want you to pause, but don't pause too long. A lot of you have been on pause and have put your dreams on pause and your desires on pause, your gifts on pause for fucking years. Some of you decades. So I don't want you doing the long pauses anymore. That do the micro pauses. The micro pauses is just enough time to allow your higher self to answer for you, and not so long where you start second guessing it. So let's talk about, this is part of the Unblocked series, Get Unblocked series. So if you're new to this series and you're into it, what I do is I take actual statements that are said on repeat from my private clients, from people DMing me, from people replying to my emails I send, people inside the Posse membership, and ones I hear all the time, and I speak to those. So today's is I have no idea what to post or what to say. Then I get paralyzed with overwhelm and do nothing. I hear this all the time, and from clients, men, women, people who are highly credentialed, beautiful writers, excellent teachers, people of all different ages, backgrounds, people who even speak on stages, who have a lot to say. But then when it comes to posting on social media, whether it's written or in video, don't know what to say, get paralyzed, overwhelmed, and do nothing. And part of why you don't know what to say is you're putting all this pressure on yourself that if you don't say something or write something profound, or it's not just like so enlightening, and you have to make sure, like Tiffany says, it's not basic, and so much of the same shit has been regurgitated and said all the time, and you don't want to be that person, but you also don't want to offend people, and you have all this pressure and all these things coming at you. Yeah, why would you want to write? You're putting a lot of pressure into one email, one post, one video. We got to take that pressure off. And there's the trust, there's the surrender in there. Trust that whatever you're feeling called to post or write about for that week, whether you're someone who batches content, which most of you just tell yourselves you want to batch content and you don't. Let's be honest. Would I batch content if I did not have a team that costs me a shit ton of money every month? No. This is also why I pay a team that costs me a shit ton of money, because I would not be disciplined in doing it. My first 8 months, starting ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. Remember, I started the podcast before I had an Instagram. I mean, I had no following. I started with like my nail guy, my lawyer, and one friend, period. I have one living relative. I don't have all these people I wasn't in a mastermind. I knew not one person in the online space. I truly started from scratch. And in doing that, in starting from scratch, the nice thing is when you start from scratch is I knew there was no one really reading or watching, because it's not like I took my personal Instagram page and converted it. It's not like I got all these people from college or from my corporate career days. So I wasn't really worried about what people would think, or I didn't have as much pressure because there weren't as many people reading or watching. So I didn't have that pressure in the beginning. The pressure came later when, my following really blew up and people I felt were, really needing my wisdom and my words and my compassion and my humor, and really looked forward, every week to getting my emails. And then there was pressure because not every week and not every day, even though I'm a content creator and I'm passionate about creating content for you guys, and I genuinely love it. And I know you feel that I love it, which is why I'm able to show up when I don't want to. But that doesn't mean I am always have, a plethora of ideas in my head going, and I always have it in me to push out all this content. I don't, especially right now. I really don't have as much to give in terms of content, because if you've listened to that episode, I think it's 2 episodes ago, the 368, you'll know more. But I'm processing like heavy shit, you guys. And when we're processing heavy emotional stuff, plus you've got holiday, emotional shit, you don't have as much. There's only so much bandwidth each of us has. That's why we have to give ourselves grace. I only have so much bandwidth, and my priority, aside from my own health, wellness, my spiritual practice and all that, my priority is to serve my current clients, right? The people who are paying me at various levels and really showing up and going all in. That's my priority, right? And creating content for them. And then there's bandwidth for me needing to create all of my beautiful free content, my email list, this podcast you're listening to, my posts, my videos, my reels, all these things. And yes, I do have that annoying word that successful entrepreneurs say, my team, right? But I pay them a lot of money so that I can serve you guys at my best. But I still have to direct them. I still have to edit. I still have to point people in the right direction. And here's why I never run out of what to say. And there are times where I have writer's block and I get paralyzed, but I ask myself certain questions and I have certain tricks that help get things flowing again. And the first thing I want to remind you of is you're never without something to say to your best friend, are you? You could probably talk to him or her for hours. I see you guys as my best friend. My ideal client is one of my best friends. And in order to truly embody that feeling, you have to build a deep relationship with them. I know what makes you guys laugh, cry, roll your eyes, get scared, frustrated, angry, what calms you, what makes you laugh, when you start checking out. That's my honor and my privilege and my responsibility and my commitment to all of you, because if I really care about you like I say I do, which I do, then I want to get to know you as deeply and as intimately and as much as possible, just like you feel that way about whether it's your own kids, your partner, your best friend. I want to know if you like coffee or tea. I want to know if you like pumpkin spice or hate it. I want to know if you also share my love for paper towels, particularly Bounty Select-A-Size. Shout out Bounty. They should really sponsor me. Seriously. Oh my God. If I got a year's free supply of Bounty, there's a lot of things I would do for that. I'm not joking. And it's not because of the money I would save. It would just be knowing every month they would send me like a fresh giant pack of Bounty paper towels. I mean, when that roll gets low, first off, who in the hell doesn't change the roll when it gets low? That's when I knew my best friend, Tracy O'Malley, she fucking gets me. Because when she comes and visits me and that roll is low, that bitch takes that roll out. You know, there's like those janky paper towels that are stuck to the glue at the end. We don't throw those out. We use those. But she knows that's not acceptable. And she makes sure there's a fresh roll. And I was like, damn, she gets me. I'm like, she gets me. I'm like, she's like, yeah, we don't have time for that. Like, there's nothing like a fresh roll. It's like that fresh jar. I'm not into Nutella. It's too sweet for me. But I know a lot of y'all love that Nutella shit. It's like a fresh jar of Nutella or peanut butter. It's very satisfying when you dig into that, isn't it? It's like when you get a fresh manicure. It's like, you know what? I have my shit together. Life's going to be okay. Am I nuts, or do you guys do you relate to anything I'm saying? So you have to make it your job, your honor, your priority to get to know your ideal client like it's your BFF, and then you'll never be without what to say. You'll feel it. I want you to use that. All of you guys have that empath side, or you wouldn't be attracted to me. You'll feel what they need to hear that day. That deep connection equals deep communication, which equals deep client relationships that you'll have forever. These are the people who will continue to work with you, buy your stuff, and refer without any referral fee. Will refer because of that deep connection, that deep communication, that deep bond. Those are your ideal clients. Those are the people that you're here to serve. So here's some questions that'll help prompt you. Ask yourself, what does she need to hear today to feel less alone or in pain on any given day? And if you batch content, let's say you're batching content for a week at a time. If you go beyond a week at a time, you're just like a wild unicorn and you need to work for me. We batch 2 weeks at a time here, but it's not because of me. It's because I pay people to help me with that. Because if it was left to me, I would post literally like to the minute. I would tell myself the lie about batching. It's procrastination issues. I don't know. It's just, it's like the lie when I pack workout clothes when I go on a trip. I've actually finally stopped doing that. I'll pack clothes where I can go like for a walk in, but that's not like a workout. I used to like tell myself the lie for 1,000 years. I'll use the gym or the spa gym at the resort. And I would even look it up and be like, oh yeah, it's a nice gym. I'm going to use that, even if it's just a half an hour. And I never freaking did. Instead, I'm like having champs and chips, which is what I should be doing. So here are some questions. And if you're batching, right, you can say, what does she need to hear today to feel less alone in her pain? Maybe it's this week. Or maybe it's, okay, I'm batching. What does she need to hear on a Wednesday when she's in the middle of her week at this exact time? So if we use right now as an example, it's during the holidays. It's the end of year. She's in the middle of her week. Her kids aren't in school. So now her kids are around. Maybe there's family at the house. Plus she's trying to keep up with her health and her workout, whatever niche you're in. What does she need to hear to feel less alone in this struggle? Maybe she's feeling more tired than ever. Again, it all depends on the niche that you're in. What story can I share with her to remind her that she can do this thing? It can be a personal story. It can be a client story. And it's okay to change the name of the client or just give the first name. right? In order to protect someone's privacy. That's an integrity. You're not lying. You can make up a completely different name. What story can I share to remind her that she can do this? Whether it's my own, it's almost like using a testimonial as a form of a story, right? Like, even showing like a before and after, but you can also share a before and after. Like, I like reminding you guys, listen, remember, I started at $17,000 a year. You know, I am not a conventionally book smart person. I'm actually one of the laziest business coaches you will ever meet. And I always joke and say, you want to hire a lazy business coach because I will absolutely show you the easy way to do everything. Because I have made sure I've figured out the easiest way to get the fastest and best results. I am not available for unnecessary hard work. And if you have to do hard work to get somewhere, or you have to do, adulty annoying things, I'll also tell you, hey, there's no way around it. I tried for years. This is just one of those things you got to do. And I'll give it to you straight. What is something that'll help her see a different perspective on her current situation? Maybe be able to look at something a little bit differently. What is something relatable that you can share to make her laugh? Is it a meme you found that's funny that you want to repurpose? Is it some kind of a funny reel that'll make her go, oh my God, that is totally what I'm doing, and make her feel less alone, make her smile today, make her feel seen and understood. So make it your mission to get to know your client's emotional makeup on a very deep level and create content that speaks straight to their current struggles and core desires. Because when someone feels like you get them, you see them, you understand them, the trust is built so quickly, and they inevitably know they have to work with you. Not, oh, I may want to work with her someday. No, I've got to work with her. Like, this is the person I'm working with, period. End of story. And write and speak just as you would to her in real life. No fancy words needed, no perfect grammars necessary, just the simple, sincere, beautiful, raw, and real you, just like you would talk to your best friend. No marketing speak. You don't know platitudes. No one wants that shit. Just the straight up, raw, real you. And just start writing. If it's too much for you to go, God, I don't know what to do for a hook line or the first, for me, I work better on coming up with that hook line first, and then I write to that. It's almost like I like coming up with a title of one of my programs or courses first, and then I write to that. That's what works for me. But some people, that really trips them up. So if that trips you up, that's okay. You'll find the hook line, which is really the climax line in the middle of what you're writing. So just start writing. Just start writing, and really fun hint, whatever shit you're going through, your ideal client is going through a version of that right now. The difference is you have more tools, you're at a different stage of your journey, but they're going through it too. This is why I'm able to do this episode. And here, you guys know me as I teach how to create profitable content, right? One of the things we do inside my 2-month private business coaching program is we create a customized profitable content plan for you in your voice, what feels good to you, so you never are without what to say, and your time and effort in creating content fucking pays off. You're not just posting and getting nothing from it, because we don't have time for that. We need it to connect. We need it to convert. Otherwise, you're going to end up quitting. But the reason I understand and I'm able to speak to you in these Get Unblocked series of having no idea what to post, what to say, then getting paralyzed is because I experience that too. I just don't experience it day after day after day, right? But I get in those spots too, but I have figured a way out to get out of it, and then have had years of practicing getting out of it and developing that muscle. So I'm just further ahead in practice than you. I've just found a way around that problem because if you don't create consistent, high value, high emotionally connecting content that converts, you cannot make money online. I don't give a shit who you are. You can be Kim K. You are not going to make money online. That's the reality of the content monster. That's the reality of making money in the digital space. And quite frankly, there's no businesses right now that really do well unless you also are creating content in the digital space. There's of course exceptions to the rule, but it's rare. This is something you need to be passionate about. And if you have a resistance to getting passionate about creating the content, get passionate about developing that best friend relationship with the person that you're here to serve, and then the content will follow. You need help with it. You are done with posting and hoping and trying to use that as a plan, which is not a plan. Then apply for my 2022 2-month private business coaching program. You can swipe up. The link to apply is in the show notes. It's also on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, or go to ProjectMeWithTiffany.com under Work With Me. We are almost wrapping up the donation December. So for every single 5-star written Apple podcast review of the show, you are donating $40 to Children of the Night, my prime organization I work with to help rescue children, teens, and women from the arms of sex traffickers, and helping them rehabilitate themselves physically, mentally, and spiritually so they have a shot at actually having a real life, a life that's their own. But we need money and resources to help rehabilitate these people because it takes freaking years. So all you need to do on Apple Podcasts, write a 5-star written review, leave your name or Instagram handle in the review. Please take a screenshot of the review so we don't have to spend time cross-referencing, and DM me on Instagram at ProjectMe with Tiffany. Then we will donate $40 to Children of the Night on your behalf. The goal I really wanted was $10K in December, and we're way short of that goal. I'm very disappointed. I'd be thrilled to even see $5K at this point. So please take that 90 seconds and do it. I really think about what that can do for these people for 90 seconds of your time. That's all I'm asking for you guys to do. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.